reception, and that time actually helped me calm down, come to terms with things. And then it's from the end of February 2021 that I've been networking and researching and basically gathering as much evidence as I possibly can. I met Melanie Richan in March 2021 and knew that she was going to be holding in Belgium an RF scanning event. So I paid and made some donations to Wikitalk for that. In the meantime, while that was pending, I met Amy and I met Dr. Stanninger, who is a toxicologist in America. So I've got some decent medical evidence and audio evidence from the B2K. I've had some help from Mr. Barry Trower. I got myself an MRI. I cut the back of my head with a knife and picked at it for a few days and let it scab over. Went to a private hospital and I showed the neurologist pictures on the internet of RFID DIY kits and said, I went to a party recently and I woke up feeling groggy and I think they've done something to me. I also cut a bit of my hair off and I got an MRI. Nothing's found on that, but at least they were looking for the right things. I got my report from Amy here, which is full of a world of information, which I'll get to when we talk with Amy. That is almost it for my story. I hired a PI, and he did a bug sweep initially on my property. And during this time, I went down to the ground floor of my building to meet him, and I saw my ex for the first time in 4 years, just stood there smoking a cigarette, acting like there was nothing wrong. And I also saw some people in the lift, and they had flight cases, tripods, cameras, cables, everything you could think of. I now know that they rented a property in my building and they were using their see-through wall technology. Some of this information is in Amy's report. Now, there's only 2 letting agents who deal with properties in my building. There's just 2 square foot apartments and locate properties. There are no privately owned apartments in here. I personally think that by process of elimination they would find a tenancy agreement if there was an investigation done. I've still got the PI now and he's been really helpful. I'm due to be scanned to obtain my frequencies and I may hold a scanning event as soon as I'll have a spectrum analyzer in my property for a number of weeks. I'm working on a...
Can I just ask you, Alison, just the spectrum analyzer, if you could just go into a little bit of detail about that. What is it and what does it do exactly?
Well, a spectrum analyzer is normally used for testing RF equipment to make sure it's within the limitations and standards that it's supposed to be in. I have used them before because I'm a recording engineer. They're quite often used when you're building a rather large recording studio. They help with figuring out what's going on in the room, acoustic treatment and bass tracks and things like that. So that's my knowledge of them in terms of having used them. In terms of victims, they can be used to scan the room with the victim in the room to obtain the frequencies. You scan the room for an hour at least before the person is present and continue after the person has left. It will basically show that these frequencies are only present when the person is also present. And then these can then be sent off to a number of various people whom are experts and can do an FCC search and basically just trace them back to source. That's the simplest way of putting it. So when I do this, I'm going to be removing pretty much all the electronics from my property. I'll do one scan with my phone and my laptop in the room and another one without them in the room, because your phone and your laptop and various devices are used to attack you. So you just need to use the correct conditions and methods, and you should be able to get your frequency.
So this is a device that you can get and take to your home, and you actually scan your home, Alison, is it? Scan your area.
That's right, yeah. You can buy cheaper ones. There's one like the RF Explorer, the pocket portable spectrum analyzer. The one that I'm going to be using, I'm renting from a company called Electro Rent, and it's like quite a few brands. So I'm going to be renting.
How much would you be talking now for one of those? I think they're about between 5 and 10 grand, are they? I thought I read.
The one that I've got my eye on, I think it's worth 27 grand, and they're not that much. It's going to work out. I got a quote the other day, and I've had to choose one that's less money because it was about £500 a month. But I found another one that will do the job just nicely, just the same. I think it came to £156 for a week.
Per week.
Yeah, but
that's good to know. So any TI could get one of these, take it to your home, rent it out for a week, and obviously anybody who is a targeted individual is getting hit with frequencies non-stop day and night, so it pretty much should show up, right?
Could do. I can't say for every single victim, and I'm not sure as to how covert these frequencies can be, and they can hop frequencies. What I would suggest to anyone trying this, with whatever device they're using, is to either use a camcorder to film the device, because you'll be able to capture fleeting frequencies like burst transmissions and things like that. What that basically means is that these things may be so covert that they only transmit back to, let's say, the attackers for a split millisecond once a day. So you need to keep an eye on it, and it needs to be one that will create a report. But yeah, you can buy them. If somebody's going to want to do this for court purposes, you need a professional or at least a third party doing the scanning, and that person can't be attacked if their own frequencies would interfere.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting, Alison. So yeah, what other things have you been working on then on the evidence side of it, on the legal side, to get this, to shed some light on this horrible situation?
Okay, so far I've got one report from Amy here, and she's working on a second one for me. The second one is a phone call to the police. It's when I made my initial complaint. Basically, I'll give you the setting. I'm sat in a supermarket car park in the car with my private investigator, another victim on the phone via the car stereo, and then the police officer on the phone as well. And basically, from what, if you don't mind me saying this, Amy, we're hoping that will basically prove that they've hacked my phone and eavesdropping on 4 counts, because there are 4 people present, along with a world of information within the report as well. I've also got 7 lots of test results via a toxicologist in the States named Dr. Staninger. I have got strict NDAs, but I will say that she found sound evidence of the hydrogel sensors in my bloodstream. I've got military-grade industrial and agricultural chemicals in my system, which definitely shouldn't be there. Some of them are in the 95th percentile, which is incredibly high and highly abnormal. A lot of the chemicals linked to nanorods and the like. I've got a lot of gold, arsenic, adamsite, Agent Orange, all sorts of stuff, very dangerous. And as I said before, I'm currently working on being scanned. It should be in the next couple of weeks to obtain frequencies. This will help back up the evidence of the hydrogel sensors. I've done a load of blood tests here in the UK, and I've got another 6 to do this week coming on the 13th. I found evidence in quite a few of those. What else have we got? What is the other evidence?
So these are, just to clarify also, are you actually walking into a hospital or being referred by your GP to get blood tests? Or are you finding you're finding companies that actually deal with these specifically and sending your blood to them?
Well, basically, I did the ones with the toxicologist in America, but I couldn't do bloods with her as I'm overseas, so I've gone to a private hospital. It's the same place I had the MRI, which I mentioned earlier. It's called the Spire Hospital, and they have a partner company called Blue Horizon, where you pay for the blood tests online. You do not need a GP referral. You then go, because they use the Spire Hospital facilities, and you can have up to 6 blood tests done at once in one sitting. So yeah, I'm paying for them and then attending in person a private hospital to get the bloods done. The other thing at the moment is Amy has advised me to get an fMRI, so that will